Good afternoon. My name is Jeff Stewart, and welcome to another Lizard Tech video. Today, I'm going to embark upon the first video of a series of videos about Portfolio 2017. As some of you may know, Portfolio 2017 is a product that we've partnered with another division in our company to bring to you that brings some interesting capabilities for digital asset management of geospatial assets. Portfolio in itself has actually been a product for a very long time. The other division of our company, Extensis, has offered it to lots of different customers, specifically in the creative spaces, publishing, magazines, photography, things like that. We worked with them a little over a year ago to incorporate some capabilities from your LizardTech software, most notably support for different types of formats of imagery and some other vector file formats. We incorporated that into the Portfolio product to make Portfolio something that we think that our GeoExpress and Express server and GeoViewer users may also find interesting and useful. What you see here is Portfolio Desktop. Portfolio, it's important to state, is it's a server-side solution for search, discovery, management of all different types of digital assets. As it's a server-side solution, it has both a web interface as well as a desktop interface for interacting with the application, interacting with the server software. I'm going to show the desktop application specifically, and I'll probably show the web application in more depth in a follow-on video. So see here, I've got the address of the server that I'm going to be selecting. I have my username, my password entered in here. You can note immediately that there's actually, we support in Portfolio a number of different types of languages, not just English, well, US English and UK English. Which could be of use to you. I'm going to choose US English, select login. Okay, so it's logging in to my server here. Okay, so immediately upon first glance, you see that there's a myriad of different type of image data in here. We have photos, we've got some LiDAR, we've got looks like some aerial imagery here, and as I scroll down, you can see even more types. I got more aerial imagery. I've got some individual shapefile files. Oh, here we go. That's a thumbnail of a shapefile vector. So I've got a lot of different types of imagery in here, a lot of different types of data. You can see a lot of this data that doesn't have any specific thumbnail image attached. Looks like it's part of shapefile. If I scroll down, see more LiDAR. I've got some documents in here. That looks like UAS data. You can see Portfolio, some part of the power of Portfolio is that it's not just limited to searching, indexing, cataloging, sharing geospatial data, but also other types of data as well. We've got some Adobe, let's do this, land use maps. Oh, we have a video here of a rocket. So you can see that MP4 extension. A lot of different types of data. You got some GeoPDFs and scanned maps. So I think that you're starting to get the picture that Portfolio is a product that can not only help you sort, search, discover your geodata, but also additional ancillary data, accompanying data as well. So over here, up at the top, you can see I've selected all assets. So what you're looking at here is all the assets I have in my Portfolio instance, my vault, so to speak. Flagged assets, those are assets you select for, like, you can flag them for basically like starring, for favorites and things. I've got something called North Carolina here, something called Seattle. These are actually catalog groupings of image data, and I'll go into that in a little bit more detail in a second. Down here, I'm going to expand that. You see I have folders organized here. So each one of these folders contains data that have come, that I've brought into Portfolio from a bunch of different types of locations: external hard drives, internal hard drives, network drives, and I've organized it along these in this file folder structure. So for example, if I select aerial imagery, it's going to load up thumbnails of all the aerial imagery I have. If I select LiDAR, you can see I've got some LiDAR data in here. If I select UAS data, here we go. We've got some drone data as well as some what looks like some accompany shape files. Yeah. Even KML, some KML data. But like I said before, it's not just that. You've got I've got a whole bunch of different types of image data. I've got some panoramics in here. Portfolio can pretty much bring in and index any type of digital data, which is very powerful. Look, I've got some design drawings, some other documents. Oh, the user guide. One of the things that makes up 360 degrees here. Oh, hold on one second. I've got an aerial imagery. I need to move this. Let me just take this from here, move it. I'm just going to drag it to the location needs to be. Okay, so here we go. Aerial image. I'm going to select that. Right now it's up. There we go. One of the cool things about Portfolio is that as long as it is an image file that can be, or as long as it's digital, for one, it can be brought into Portfolio. Also, if there's any accompanying metadata with that image, whether it be EXIF data for photos or geo data or publishing data or keyword data, you can bring that into Portfolio as well. And any metadata that is brought into Portfolio is also searchable in Portfolio. So let's take an example here. I have a bird. You can see it's just a normal JPEG, but it's geo-referenced JPEG. So I took it with my camera, with my phone, had some coordinate data attached to it, so you can see where it is on this map. Right here. There's some keywords. Some keywords that I added are these ones, and the other ones, these darker ones, are ones that the system added using the smart keywords function, which is something else I'll probably cover in another video, but something that's really, really useful. You can see you got file size, when it was created, modified, cataloged. Again, Portfolio can read all sorts of different types of metadata. So this is just a filtered grouping of metadata fields I have. If I select all fields, you get an idea as to all these other things that Portfolio will index, read, things that you can edit. It's a very rich source of metadata. IPTC, EXIF data. So here we go. So the camera make and model. So I made it with my Google Pixel 2. You can see when it was made. And here we go. GPS altitude, latitude, longitude. That right there is how it's able to be located, or placed rather, on the map. Right there. Now, if I take a selection of, say, other type of geodata, maybe something that is actually projected, it's not just from a camera phone, you can see here, I've got an image, it places it on the map. I've got XY origin. I have resolution information, bounding information, even coordinate reference system information. All of this metadata can be edited. It can be customized. You can bring in different types of metadata to search against. It's pretty neat. For all these images, all I did was go to a location. Like, for example, I went, I'll bring an image in right now. Let's see, I'll go to just I have something on my desktop actually. If I want to bring in an image, all I have to do is go to that location, select where I want to get the data from. Let's see, get to choose some data here. Maybe, let's see, I'll try to get some of this, would be a good selection. Maybe something from North Carolina here. Boom. So I have a SID image here. All I have to do is take this image. This is an aerial image. Just drag it right over to aerial imagery. And then in Portfolio, it starts uploading it right now. So you can see it's uploading this one asset. As soon as it's done uploading, this will refresh here, and I can refresh the screen, and the thumbnail for that image will be there. So that's pretty neat. You can search against assets. For example, if I want to find maybe a picture of, I don't know, I'll just do like imagery or something. Oh, there, I have some saved searches there. Imagery. So anything that's tagged in the keywords or somehow or other in the other metadata with the word imagery, it'll come up. Or if I chose maybe LiDAR. Here we go. LiDAR and some ancillary files, additional files to go along with those point clouds. Or if I chose mountain, maybe. There's some images, some aerial images of mountains, but I also don't just have that. I have some scanned maps, some GPDFs too. These documents here, the reason these come up is that for some reason they might have the word mountain located in them. It's cool to note that Portfolio not only will search the metadata of an image or the name of an image or description of an image and allow you to search against that, but for something like that's a PDF or a Microsoft Word document, it will also do a search against the text of that document itself. And then, provide it in your search terms. So maybe, but it'll also do, let's see, maybe I have a picture, maybe it's just some images. Oh, look, some pictures of horses. But I also have a LiDAR mosaic that's Wild Horse Island. The word horse caused it to come up. For example, these two scan maps here, they probably have the word horse in them, and the application read it. So I've shown you a grid view. I also want to show you that there is we've built a map view into this to give you an idea of where all your images, where all your assets are located. So again, I have all assets selected up here. And this allows you to do some basic sort of search and exploration of all your assets using a map interface. It's important to note you can, let's see, I'm going to turn on that imagery. You can also search against the map interface for information that you want. So for example, if I say maybe I want to confine it to the United States. Okay, and I say again, if I say imagery, there are 50 assets here. Now, if I come back here, say that, okay, so it's going to present me with those same 50 imagery assets. If I go back here and I say, okay, maybe North Carolina or NC, here we go, 35 assets. And I can do a better job, kind of hit this grid view, thumbnail view rather, and I can explore what's in here. Got some utilities photos. Oop, go back over here. Now, if I dig down and a little bit deeper here, you can see when I get zoom in a little bit more, I can choose to have the imagery load up. I've got some clusters here. These are clusters of individual images. I've got this telephone box, or I've got this storm sewer. Back here, I've got, let's see. Oh, excuse me. Looks a little offset, probably to do with my the GPS on my phone, but you get the picture. And up here, and anytime, let's say I wanted to take a look at this particular image, I can actually pop it, open up a larger preview image, come in here, and take a look at it. No, there's no additional applications besides this Portfolio desktop app is required to be able to use this imagery and view it. That's something that's also nice. Portfolio is the power of providing engines for previewing all this data without you having to have anything additional plugged in. Now I could potentially select, let's say I wanted to go over here and say, okay, let's go back to the grid view. Let's say I like these 5 images. I can then choose to download these images. I don't know, you can see down here, I've got the files are being prepared. I can download it, boom, and then open them up in an application of my choice on my computer. I can convert those images. I can convert them to a JPEG. I can choose a MrSID output or a TIFF output. For example, I want MrSID. I can choose lossless or specify the compression ratio. Change the file names, all sorts of things. We really wanted to bring the power of not just a piece of software that is really good at organizing, sharing, creating sections for, projects for creative formats like your Adobe formats or things like that, but we also wanted to create something that you can use to work side by side with your geo data as well as the other types of data that you have. Another thing I want to touch on really quickly before we end this particular segment. Oh, hold on. Before I do that, I'm going to refresh this. I always like to keep my data up to date. Anyway, over here I said that, okay, so there's all assets, there's flagged assets, so if I have anything flagged, those will come up. Those could be like your favorites. But I also have a couple of different catalogs made. So I took all the data that I had in North Carolina, which just happens to be where I live, and I put it into a catalog. Okay. However, maybe I have some new data that I want to add to that. So let's see here, North Carolina. Okay. Maybe I have some other data. I just want to make sure I double check against it. Oh, I downloaded some more. There we go. Yep, I want to replace it. Up north. Let's see here. Anything else in here? Oh, here we go. Here's my new image I put in there. So this is North Carolina too, from Boone, North Carolina. So I can drag that over and add that to my North Carolina catalog there. Maybe I can choose, let's see here. You can also do all sorts of things to customize your interface. You can choose how things are cataloged. You can choose what type of metadata shows. For example, like if I want to choose, if not just the file name and description, but maybe the, let's see, created date too. I can do that. And it'll bring that additional piece of metadata into the thumbnail to see. Okay, so I brought that Boone image over, Boone, North Carolina. Here we go. So that's now in my catalog. Pretty cool. One thing I'm going to talk about, and just a little bit of a teaser for another additional video, is that for any catalogs that you make here, any groupings, you can do something called net publish. You can actually create a website with that particular grouping of content. And I'm going to go into that a little bit more detail in a later time, but that's a really exciting thing that we built into a portfolio. Think about the opportunities that you would have to then share that data, to to create custom websites, just all that data. That just means that you can control all the data that you have on the back end using portfolio, and it would, and then expose it via the web to your users or customers or whatever using NetPublish without them actually having access to your portfolio instance as a whole. It's very exciting, and I will go into that in more detail at a later date. But so far, I hope you found this interesting. I try to keep these videos not too long because I know people have, don't have a ton of time and don't have a ton of attention span necessarily. But I hope this has kind of given you an idea as to what kinds of data that you can bring into portfolio and search against and use and view and download and all that stuff. So again, my name is Jeff Stewart. This has been a LizardTech video. Stay tuned for another installment of the LizardTech videos on portfolio. And I look forward to speaking with you again in the very near future. Thank you.